never cared for what they do.
Don't ever do that on a show again.
What?
Just don't ever. Whatever that was you just did, don't ever do that.
I think it was pretty good.
Oh, that was horrid.
News, reviews, interviews, and all things metal. From the Kensington Place Studios, it's According to Metal with Jason and Biz.
According to Metalheads, rejoice, celebrate. Why? Because it's time for another installment of the According to Metal podcast. That's why. Where it's news, reviews, interviews, and all things metal. We have so much to talk to you about, and I'm so glad that you guys are listening to us, whether you're listening to us on iTunes or Spreaker or the podcatcher of your choice, whatever it may be, or whether you just clicked on some web link that we shared on Facebook. Either way, I'm glad that you're listening. Stick around for a while, because we got a lot of stuff to talk to you about. We got the latest metal news, of course. Biv and I are going to be discussing that like we do on every installment of the show. Speaking of Biv, my co-host, which we'll get to here in a second, he's got the best band you've never heard of, like we do on every episode as well. By the way, speaking of every episode, we do reviews. 4.5-ish reviews, I think. The best way to word that, considering we're doing an EP review. So it's kind of a half album, really. And speaking of reviews and speaking of albums, one of the albums we're actually reviewing this week, we've never done this before on the show, and so this is going to be a lot of fun because we're reviewing an album from a band, and we happen to have as our guest this week the lead singer of the band of the album we're reviewing. So it's going to be really, really cool. Can't wait to share that with you. Because Urban Breed's going to be joining us later on in the program. We review Sirius Black's album Mirrorworld. He's going to be joining us as Biv and I do the review and give us his thoughts and feedback, and we'll even ask him to rate the album. Yeah, it's going to be really, really cool. Never done that before, and so lots to talk to you about. Glad that you guys are listening, and of course, I've mentioned this guy a couple times already, so we may as well just introduce him to you. If for some reason this is the first time you're listening, the real star of the show, the man, the myth, the legend, Biv. What's going on, man? Let's talk some metal. You ready?
And the legend in my own mind. Don't leave that part out.
Well, yeah.
But,
really, just yours.
Well, hold on. Before we dive into reviews and all that.
It's time to give you some headlines. The metal news you need to know right now.
Now, it is October. And normally, for you as a Cub fan, that doesn't mean much.
No, it doesn't.
But this year, you've got the Cubs in the playoffs. Now, I know this is a story from a couple weeks back, but on our last episode, we didn't get a chance to dive into too much news because, well, any news for that matter, because we had the review extravaganza, right?
That's true, yeah. Last episode, we had 8, 9 reviews that we did. We had so many to do because there's so many great albums coming out. And by the way, that's not stopping anytime soon.
No, God, no. I've looked at the schedule for the next 45 days, and it's ridiculous. But one of the stories that I saw just previous to that was that Joey Belladonna sang the national anthem at the Chicago Cubs game.
Yeah, that was cool, by the way, and he killed it.
And exactly, and I wanted to bring that up to you because I know you're a Belladonna fan.
I am.
And I know you're a Cub fan, so I thought for you that had to be a really special moment, and just kind of wanted to hear your take on it.
Well, my favorite part about it is like, all right, everybody, stand up, remove your caps. Doing the national anthem is Joey Belladonna from the band Anthrax. And it's just funny to hear that stadium announcer say that. I laughed my ass off. That was my favorite part. But he actually killed it, man. He did a really, really good job. And it goes to show the dude can sing. I mean, legit sing. Because, I mean, let's face it. For those of you who, well, I mean, obviously you're listening to the show, so you know who Anthrax is. But, I mean, how many people in the stands that day or watching it on TV went, Anthrax lead singer? Oh, this should be interesting. You know, because they probably think, you know, he's going to, you know, bark into the microphone, or you know what I mean? Because you don't know if you're ignorant to it. Like, I'm thinking of my dad. Like, he has no idea what Anthrax sounds like. So if he hears that the lead singer from Anthrax
comes in an envelope that gets, you know,
exactly. You know, so he's probably thinking, oh, some heavy metal guy is going to be singing the national anthem. This should be good, and then it was. So there, Joey killed it. He was awesome.
Well, you know, if you would have told me 30 years ago that Anthrax, Joey Belladonna would be singing the national anthem at a Major League Baseball game, and that Metallica would be using their music to sell cars. And I think of all these examples all the time of how the music that was so demonetized 30 years ago, that today is considered to be, oh, well, that's just classic old people music.
Yeah, it's funny you say that, because there's a video game I saw a commercial for the other day, and it's like, it's not Metallica's version, but it's Nothing Else Matters, sung by some chick with this string and piano accompaniment.
Oh, I haven't seen that.
No, it's never cared for what they do. And it's all this soft, pretty, music to have as a background to some video game. And I'm like, this is Nothing Else Matters.
Don't ever do that on a show again.
What?
Just don't ever. Whatever that was you just did, don't ever do that. I think it was
pretty good.
Oh, that was horrid. But speaking of Metallica, so
and hopefully not.
So what do you think about Moth into Flame?
A lot better than Hardwired.
Okay.
At least in my opinion. Riffing wise, good. Vocals sound the same, but the lyrics aren't awful like they are on Hardwired.
Right, the lyrics are much better.
But I mean, definitely the better of the two tracks. But again, Hardwired is better than what they've done before. So both tracks, I'm looking forward to the new album. I really am. I mean, we would review it on here anyway because we have a podcast, and why the hell not? But
and they're only the biggest name in metal today.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of have to.
Whether they've done anything in 30 years is regardless.
Yeah, which to me is funny. But yeah, it's I'm looking forward to hearing the rest of the album. I was impressed. I really was.
I was too, actually. That song at least made me. I mean, don't get me wrong. Hardwired, I like the riffage too.
Yeah, no, musically Hardwired is decent, but just vocally it's bad and the lyrics are awful.
But Moth into Flame kind of made me go, if the whole album were like this, and I'm not saying it is, but if it were, then at that point I could say, you know what, this is Metallica. I could actually own the CD. So we'll see. We'll see what it is. But, one of the things that we've talked about on the show a few times, and I'm not trying to retread that, and I'm not going to retread that, is we've talked about alternate ways for bands to make money. We've talked about how difficult it is for them to make money in today's day and age in the music industry. I came across a story that I thought, now I'm not a big Five Finger Death Punch fan. I'm just going to get that out of the way. And it's not even about them per se. Okay. It's about the idea that they had to route their current Canadian tour. Did you see this?
No, I didn't.
Okay, so what they did was they decided they were trying to come up with an idea of how do we want to route this tour, which I'm sure is a conversation every band and every booking agency has prior to, anything that they do. So what they did was they wanted to put more power into the hands of their fans. And so it's, quote, it occurred to us to ask the public where they wanted us to play, therefore eliminating the guesswork. So we set up an online voting poll and started analyzing data. And in some cases where there was a demand in cities we might not have played otherwise, pretty simple stuff, but highly effective. So it made sense to repeat the process in Canada. So they decided on what 13 cities and 13 dates, and in one order, going from British Columbia all the way to Nova Scotia, from one end of Canada to the other, based on essentially nothing more than listening to their fans and online surveys and things like that. And I thought, that's, while I don't know what difference it's going to make long term, it at least tells their fans that they're listening to them, especially if there's a city that they have not gone to historically, that they seem to have a following in. So I thought it was a very interesting story. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, very well done. And it makes sense. I mean, you go where the people are. If there's enough people saying, play in my town, I will frickin' be there. And they also feel they have a part in it. You know what I mean? Then you're more prone to not only, of course, show up to the show, but support the band more. I think that's a great idea, especially for a band. And you know what? Kudos to them, because a Five Finger Death Punch is the kind of band where that's perfect for them. And what I mean by that is, an Iron Maiden can just freaking come to Chicago and deal with it. You know what I mean? You're going to show up and you're going to drive 4 hours and not care.
They could sell out Des Moines.
Correct. So it doesn't matter.
Care.
But then if you're a really small band, you really can't do that either, because, you may hope that you're going to have all types of online feedback about this, that, or the other. And then you find out that,
it's the same 10 retreads.
Right, exactly. And you're not getting nearly the support you thought you were going to get, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. So for a band that's not huge, but big enough to be a relatively household name amongst at least rock music fans, kudos to them. That's a great idea. Good for them.
Yeah, I thought it was really interesting. So, well done. And I wanted to add it to the file of, and again, I don't know how it's going to play out yet, but I wanted to add it to the file of creativity for the sake of how do we support our band ourselves? How do we make money? How do we promote ourselves in a much, much different age of music than we were in 20, 30, 35 years ago?
Yeah, I think you have to do it differently nowadays. And those who do it differently, that aren't the mega bands who can just do what they want. Those who do it differently are going to be the ones who succeed. And those who continue to, play the old-fashioned game of, we just need a big label to sign us and give us a bunch of money to go on tour. I just don't see those days happening anymore.
No, those days are done. But, speaking of bands, though, that aren't necessarily big, but, still just do what they want. Steel Panther.
Yes.
Was that a great segue or what?
It's very good.
So I don't know if you saw this, but they have an actual release date for their brand new studio album. Have you seen this?
I didn't know they had a release date, but I know they have a single. I've
they
listened
do have a
to
single.
It. It's called "She's Tight," if I'm not mistaken.
Right, and it comes from the CD called "Lower the Bar," which goes on sale February 24th of next year.
Nice. I will tell you. Have you heard "She's Tight" at all, or no?
I have.
I thought it was bad.
Really?
Yes, I was not happy. I'm like, dude, this is not. And I'm a huge Steel Panther fan, guys. So, for me to hear it and go, oh, this is, I don't like this. So I hope the rest of the album isn't.
Maybe we should have Styx It In You to find out, kind of where the idea came from.
Hey, Styx and I are friends on Facebook, so maybe I'll try to see if we can get him on the show.
Yeah, I think that would be a great idea. So, but by the way, that will be supported by a U.S. tour from at some point, I guess, early winter running through approximately January 20th.
Oh, really? Wow.
So,
nice to know. I'm telling you right now, guys, if and I mean this in all sincerity, if you want to go have a fun night, go to a Steel Panther concert. If you haven't done it, you have to go, because it is half comedy show, half metal concert, and it's so well done. They're incredibly talented. They're funny as hell, and I'm telling you, it's something. If they come to your town or anywhere near there, if you can go, even if you're not a fan, you will walk away going, dude, that was pretty awesome. I'm just telling you right now. Everybody I've ever took to a Steel Panther show has walked away going, dude, that was really cool. Those guys are great. So the albums are good. The videos are good. Live, they're so much better.
All right. There you go. So, and you'll finally, kind of my last item here is that now, as I've said on the show before, I'm going to see Grim Reaper here in a couple of weeks, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so, as we all know, their new CD is out, which came out, I believe, September 2nd, if I'm not mistaken. At any rate, it's the first new work they've done in 29 years. And they actually have a new video out called Walking in the Shadows, which I'm not usually a big video fan. I'm still not.